If you ask the experts, men who cry are better in bed than the rest of the male population.
What are the experts? Who are the experts?
We'll get into it. According to Marina Lazarus, a so-called sexpert, relationship expert, and author of the book Men Need Love Too, claims that men who cry are the best lovers. So she claims the fine line between vulnerability and masculinity is the biggest challenge for men in today's society.
I feel like a Justin Baldoni speech is coming out of nowhere here.
Literally, Justin Baldoni is the epitome of that trope of the hot male feminist.
He's the one who's currently going back and forth with Ryan Reynolds' wife about this movie that they did. There's a whole bunch of discourse back and forth.
You referring to Blake Lively as Ryan Reynolds' wife is...
I don't know if he knows who Blake Lively is. I know he knows who Ryan Reynolds is.
I know who Blake Lively
Phil's hip with the young people. Okay.
She's not young either, though. Not that she's old, but she's not like a Gen Zer. She's like my age.
She explains that finding a man who is in touch with his emotions will allow you to find the catch of a lifetime rather than just a day. And Gen Z seems to be catching on to this trend, as many young women are swiping right on nice guys who are in touch with their feminine side. This is horrifying. A brunch-loving, feelings-having type of guy known as baby girl, such as actor Jacob Elordi, for instance.
I mean, it's always weird when they use like some actor as like an archetype for this, as if you actually know who that person is. You're just basing it off his physical appearance, not off anything you might actually know about him.
I recall when we were talking about Gen Z's love of men who exude baby girl energy, that Jacob Elordi was the #1 example of that, because he's willing to... wear corsets and jewelry.
He's willing to go to brunch with you.
And look effeminate.
He's going to go to brunch with you and listen to your girlfriends gab and not shut up. That's what he's going to do.
I will defend brunch, though.
Okay.
I will defend brunch till the day I die.
Look, there is nothing that is in any way male or female about having meals.
No. But it just seems like women... are generally the ones who just effing love brunch and bring their boyfriends.
That's because they're lazy and don't want to get out of bed early.
Yeah. Or you say that.
Or what was it? It was like a Bill Burr. He's like, I don't want to pay $27 for eggs.
But it's about the bottomless mimosas.
Is it really? Is it about alcoholism?
Yeah.
I didn't know that women were more prone to alcoholism. I thought that men were more prone to alcoholism.
I actually don't know.
Not that women are immune, but I thought that men were more prone
I think the definition of what masculine is changing, says a matchmaker.
This is, Adam Cohen, the director of his own matchmaking service, claims that some traditional norms are shifting. Masculinity today is not about being a tough guy, but about being honest, respectful, protective, and emotionally expressive.
I mean, I guess it depends on what you consider protective, right? Like, it's kind of hard to be protective if you don't at least have a little bit of a rough side.
The question is, will that get you divorced? Because honestly, it's like you can be like, oh, look, this is what attracts women. But what women, first of all, are they on SSRIs and are they on birth control, first of all? And second of all, do they stay with you when they get off of those drugs?
Yeah.
And if they are attracted to you when they're not on any of those drugs, like, is that what is masculine? The idea that masculinity is changing, I think, is ridiculous. What's really changing is the women that are deciding what is masculine, and they're changing because of increased levels of depression, because of societal pressures, because of this, that, and the other thing. But what is masculine is not changing. And at the end of the day, the women that tend to be happiest are the women that stay with the guy and have families, and they tend to be attracted to traditionally masculine men.
So it's not about changing the definition of masculine. It's about actually trying to change what it is women are attracted to, even if that is not a masculine thing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not about changing the definition of masculinity. It's more so what they're doing here is encouraging men to adapt to what women today find attractive, which is generally not traditional masculinity. But it's really the women who are defective for being attracted to the wrong things.
About 31% of American men have actively changed their behavior to become more vulnerable and open with people they are dating, according to Bumble in 2024.
Yeah, this was according to Bumble's 2024 Dating Trends Report. 31% of American men have actively changed their behavior to become more vulnerable with the people they're dating. And they also reported that 25% of men found this newfound openness has had a positive impact on their emotional state.
I mean...
this is what men wanted all along? I don't know.
Positive because they're now single again and can focus on themselves because the women don't actually want a guy who's super open and vulnerable all the time.
I came to a realization that men can be okay with being single more than women can.
I mean, again, I'm gonna pull the card here. It's for the purpose of the podcast, but I understand the law of averages. I'm not going against the law of averages, but I knew a lot of people, both men and women, that were the ones that were just serial. They were always not like short-term relationships. They were in long-term relationships, 4, 5, 6 years. But then as soon as they got out of it, I'm like, bro, like, take a break, right into the next 4, 5, 6 year relationship. And it was like, just can't sleep alone at night. Apparently.
There are a lot of people like that, but generally, men are the ones who are more able to exist and adapt in solitude compared to women.
Yeah.
And women, no matter what's going on in their lives, they can probably make room for a relationship if it's the right one.
Yeah.
Like, they will just shift their priorities for the right relationship. Men, however, whether it's because they just feel like they're not ready or they have some kind of self-deprecating mindset that they aren't good enough to be in a relationship yet, or they haven't reached certain milestones yet that they would feel.
I mean, that's a big thing now that a lot of guys are talking about is like, when will I, and there's different schools of thought on that. Some of it's like, look, you're never going to be as ready as you think you need to be.
No.
Others say, have certain things in order if you want to be able to provide what you feel you need to be able to provide to be the best you can be in a relationship. And it's usually never that simple. It's somewhere in the middle.
Men are now more comfortable showing who they are emotionally, their authentic selves, and letting their personalities shine through instead of putting up barriers or worrying about being too emotionally expressive. This is women's interpretation of men's interior emotional state. Because obviously, if you're a woman, you cannot possibly relate to the experience of being a man. I am going to live my entire life having no clue what it's like to be a man.
What makes a
I
guy
can try
laugh?
to piece it together by asking questions, but I'm never going to understand it.
Where humor comes from men and women is vastly different based on their lived experience.
Or even women are never going to understand male friendship, which is why they project the norms of female friendships onto male friendships and propose the idea that male friendships are in a state of crisis right now because they don't do the same things that women do when they're friends. They don't talk about their feelings that much. And that's not necessarily a problem.
No.
Because they're men, and this needs to be reiterated so often, men and women are different.
I'm going to call a little bit of BS on the article because I was looking for the raw data, if you will, about how this made men better in bed, but I saw no such evidence in this article.
I looked further into it. This whole conversation was kicked off because of a scene in Love Island, UK.
Where you go for all of the deep thoughts on humanity.
One of the contestants on Love Island named Luca cried in response to his girlfriend on the show crying. And there were all of these women fawning over him for seeming so intelligent and self-aware. One said, Luca went from being a dick to Tash, his girlfriend, for crying, to becoming an intelligent, self-aware man who is in touch with his emotions. Seeing Luca cry was deep. Didn't ever think I would feel for this guy.
But the point is, they just said he went from being a dick. So, like, he's already established that he can be a dick, that he can be hard, he can defend them to some degree. And then when he shows his emotional side, when he is emotional, what the woman thinks is, oh, that guy, the dick, is being emotional because she has broken through. It's straight up Beauty and the Beast.
I see.
Yeah,
that's interesting that you brought that up, because then the sexpert, Marina Lazarus, said, Luca's tears are gorgeous. Scenes of women comforting men with tenderness have the potential to redefine intimacy on screen. They challenge outdated notions of masculinity and celebrate vulnerability as internal strength to create deeper intimacy.
They did nothing like that at all. Because
that
they
was her
established,
interpretation.
and she's full of crap. He established, if he comes off as a dick in the beginning, he establishes the masculine thing, the jerk going after the bad guy, blah blah blah. All that is very typical. All of that is cookie cutter stuff, right? The jerk can defend them. The jerk has it in him to stand up to the world. And then when he's soft for her, that is the look. She got into his heart. And so he's this hard, mean, blah, 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 tough guy. And she softens his heart. And women then go ahead and they put themselves in her place. And they're like, that's what I want. The jerk that's not a jerk to me. He's a jerk to everybody else. He could go ahead and kill everybody in the village, but he comes up to me and he just lifts my head up with the tip of his sword. That's exactly the same dynamic that women want. It's not about new kind of masculinity at all. This is just people seeing it for the first time, and they're like, oh, look, it's different now. No, it's not. You're just stupid.
Yeah, and women definitely don't want to be put in the position where they have to be that, like, caregiver, where they have to, like, regulate a man's emotions for him, and they have to be the comforter all the time, and they have to basically be emotionally in charge. They don't like that. So
if he presented himself, if the first time she ever saw him, or any of these people ever saw him, was him being emotional, immediate desert in the pants, immediate dry spell, immediately, oh, I've got the ick. He's not attractive.
It's
no matter
the
what
Sahara Desert.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, this sexpert came up with 8 signs to notice in a man which prove he is the best in bed. Number 1 being he isn't afraid to cry. He doesn't need to prove his masculinity. He is a man who is good at listening. He wants to talk. He wants to talk about his emotions. Those are just a few that she came up with.
Okay.
But, I mean, anyone can just call themselves an expert on
that is
just
true.
about anything. There is one particular tough guy, a self-proclaimed masculinity guru named Justin Waller, who recently admitted the only thing that will make him cry. I want to show this clip.
I sent this to Mary yesterday. Refresh
This is his big confession.
When is the last time that you cried?
Whenever get hit those threes. If you want me to cry, it's going to be out of joy for somebody else.
When is...
There's actually a longer form discussion for that, but yeah.
I'm sure that as a masculinity guru, he's one of the ones who would say you should never cry in front of a woman. That's an immediate death knell for a relationship. I don't think it's as black and white as that. Definitely.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah, I don't think it's as black and white as that. Plus, most people in these spheres try to give a lot of like macro scale advice on something that is usually very tailored to a specific discussion where they don't know your specific relationship with whoever you're in a relationship with. And if you take the broad strokes of somebody's advice and try to apply it very, acutely to your relationship, that's not going to work if you don't actually understand why things are the way they are in your own life and in your own relationship.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.